Hello, this is Alexander Antonio Manzoni, reading from The Spokane Story. Chapter 7. The room was filled with the off-color banter of some godforsaken reality TV programming. It mixed with the sounds of 3 tiny dogs barking and howling incessantly, and a grating scratch that sounded like someone was sandpapering the paint off of a boat. Sherry's mother, Geraldine, was seated on a decaying couch in front of a 30-inch flat screen covered in an opaque film of grime. She was smoking a cheap off-brand Menthol 100 with one hand and raking her face with the other while flies buzzed around the room. A half-empty bottle of Smirnoff lay in front of her on a cluttered coffee table in total disarray. There were at least 5 ashtrays in the living room, and they were all overflowing with burnt butts, crumpled cigarette cellophanes, and wadded up used tissues dried to stiffness that was practically unyielding. So I said to my bestie, OMG, that is totally crazy. Your boyfriend is like totally sleeping with my boyfriend. And she was like, what? And that's when I showed her the pics, and she was like, so when's the 4-way? And I was like, oh no, you didn't, bitch. Geraldine stared vacantly through her huge glasses at the increasingly blurry TV screen. Sight unseeing, she passingly wondered where the hell Sherry was with her goddamn Division Club sandwich from Brooklyn Deli on South Monroe and Railroad Alley. How long is that little bitch gonna take? She's too much like her mother, thought Geraldine as she switched over from scratching to picking more precise areas inside her cheek. I say inside because she'd worn a rut through the top layer of epidermis as would an athlete kicking their cleats into the ground. It was one of several prominent, unsightly open sores throughout her body. Raw and red, they contrasted quite horribly with the ghoulish color of her complexion. An exceptionally obnoxious min-pin named Dolly clawed at the leg of Geraldine's malodorous gray sweatpants in a bid for attention that reeked of primal desperation. Old Dolly was probably about to shit on the floor again. "Not now, baby," said Geraldine. "Mama's busy." The end of her sentence trailed off with a hint of sadness into the empty void that existed within this cacophonous din of yapping and yammering. The shiny plastic people on the TV broke out into a brawl. Ash fell from the tip of Geraldine's cigarette and landed on Dolly's back before rolling off onto the dusty brown shag carpet near Geraldine's edematous, varicose ankles. The older woman's neck lolled back with a new eye. She stopped picking and blindly reached around to pet Dolly, but instead knocked over the bottle of vodka. She snapped back to attention, eyes wiggling and out of focus. "I told Sherry to put the goddamn bottle back in the fucking freezer when she was done with it. Fucking kids never listen. Think they grow up at 18 and out the door when you're raising them, but no. That's too much to ask. In your fucking 20s and still can't clean up after yourself, my mother would just die again if she were around to witness her granddaughter acting like a goddamn shit-eating pig. Boy, I tell ya, I'm gonna have to break my foot off in her ass one of these days." Geraldine would often have these one-sided conversations with herself when there was no one around. At times, her monological tirades would rise to a frenzied pitch, and if she happened to be in public at the time, or even worse, a retail establishment, there was always a scene, which usually ended with security being called and Geraldine getting banned for life from yet another Taco Bell or Walmart. Then her brain told her that she could use another hit of that ice. It had been a good 5 or 6 hours since the last one. She'd been high since Wednesday in a state that defied the old man's 3 stages of methamphetamine intoxication criterion. It was a state between stage 2, window peeker, and stage 3, total annihilation. So let's call it stage 2.5. Her brain was still functioning at some level. Nevertheless, her overall symptoms were merely being masked by the addition of a prodigious volume of hard liquor and handfuls of sedatives and painkillers. No matter what she took, though, nothing satiated the compulsion to pick all day and night. Pick. Well, abstinence would clear that right up, but that's pretty much out of the question. As Geraldine would often say when confronted with the problem of her addiction, "What's the fucking point? I'm too old to change now." Then from underneath the heaps of refuse and tchotchkes on the coffee table came a tinny noise coupled with a strange vibratory emanation. An old cheeseburger wrapper from McDonald's moved suddenly of its own volition, quivering and buzzing like an obtuse entomological specimen. Geraldine stared in oblique wonderment, unmoving, while the dogs just kept on barking, and now barking at it, this thing. "Call from Sherry," said the disembodied female robot voice. It came out sounding like Sherry. Bzz, bzz. Dolly jumped up on the table and stole the cheeseburger wrapper, uncovering the large rectangular Samsung Galaxy next to some pennies cemented to the table with spilled liquor and a porcelain miniature of Frosty the Snowman dancing that was stained yellow from cigarette tar and cooking grease. "Dolly!" Geraldine yelled, shaking her fist at the dog as it bounded into Sherry's room and proceeded to shred the paper all over the carpet. No way was Geraldine getting up, though. Not right now. That would be too much effort for her to spare. At that moment, she forgot about the phone until the disembodied robot spoke up again. "Call from Sherry." "Oh," said Geraldine. "Right." She reached over with an oomph and fumbled around the table until she had it in her fusty hands. Her eyes were so out of focus it was nearly impossible for her to find the answer call button, which was on the bottom left corner of the touchscreen. "Freaking newfangled phones. Nothing but junk." She mashed the keypad with her palm accidentally and answered the call. "Hello, Ma," said a voice, though not exactly feminine, had a distinctive rough and earthy quality that was quite endearing to her boyfriend, Pete. "Where the fuck have you been with my sandwich?" asked Geraldine. "Oh, you know how I get caught up when I'm out doing things," said Sherry. The pace of her speech quickened, it wavered and was inconsistent, quite possibly from all the meth she had smoked that day. "But don't you worry about it, Mom. It's no problem at all. No, I just got the sandwiches, and I'm bringing them home now so's we can feast. I got the turkey avocado. I bet it's really yummy. Oh yes, I love turkey, and I love avocado, so what could be a better combo?" Geraldine could clearly hear the background noise of people honking and screaming at her daughter's fine driving abilities. "Hold on, Ma. There's this asshole I gotta deal with. Just 1 second." "All right." "Yeah, well, watch who you try to say that to, motherfucker. I'll cut your balls off. Just try me." "Okay, Ma, what were you saying now?" Yeah, Sherry was a real piece of work herself. "Have you heard from that good-for-nothing boyfriend of yours?" "No, Ma." "He best not be out gallivanting around with loose women." "Yeah, sure. He's at whatever outdated term you old country farts had back in the day. Honky-tonks, speakeasies, juke joints. I mean, what the fuck? Pete's a decent enough guy." "He's a degenerate criminal and a lush." "He's a lot better than he used to be." "Yeah, right. Well, I still don't want him over here." "I know that." "Well, when was the last time you heard from him?" "I saw him this afternoon. He was with the old man." "Well, when's he gonna get some minutes on his goddamn phone?" "I don't know, Ma. I'm not up his ass 24 hours a day. Don't give me any of that shit of yours. I'm not in the mood for it." "Uh-huh. Well, where are you at now?" asked Geraldine, nonplussed. "My sandwich is gonna get all soggy and shitty by the time you get here." "Just over the bridge. I'm at Monroe and Broadway. I'll see you in like 10. "All right. Love you. Bye." Geraldine hung up and set the phone back down on the coffee table before reaching for the bottle of vodka and pouring a double neat into a dirty glass. She took a sip and casually glanced over at her cigarette. It had gone out. Actually, the cinder had fallen off at some point and had burned another one of many holes in the couch cushions. It wasn't the first, and it definitely wasn't going to be the last. "Something's odd," thought Geraldine as a faint humming noise rose up and filled her auditory sensorium. "Something I can't quite put my finger on." You know what it was? The dogs. They had finally stopped barking. Thank you. This is Chapter 7 of the Spokane Story. Enjoy. Yes.